third-year international studies major with a concentration in global politics and societies, and a minor in Asian studies. Cyan was born in the Philippines and migrated to the USA when she was 7 years old. Initially, her family was her main connection to the Philippines, but this changed when she joined the traditional Filipino dance club in high school. Her interest in traditional dance expanded her connection with other Filipinos and allowed her to get in touch with her roots. This inspiration is evident in the research she will discuss today, titled The Balancing Act: Discovering Filipino-American Identity and Decolonization Through Cultural Dance and Performance. Please give a warm welcome to Cyan Balanta.
Dance as a space is accessible and an easy way to engage in the Filipino culture and explore other parts of your identity. This is especially true for many Filipino-Americans who live in areas where there isn't a strong Filipino-American community, or there aren't as many resources to learn about their heritage in other ways. And part of the reason why these dance spaces are so salient is because, as this one quote suggests, there's already a shared understanding and no need to explain your experience as a Filipino.
Madison was a TEDx Youth speaker in 2018, where she spoke on street sexual harassment. Additionally, Madison has also worked for the University of San Francisco's Title IX office. Madison's passion for both sexual violence prevention and Asia intersects in the research she will show us today, which focuses on the online South Korean feminist movement and how the internet can be a space where women can reclaim their power, amplify the work of activists, and open up new spaces for protesting sexual violence. Madison's research is not only important to those who have ties with Korea, but to any self-identifying feminist and to all of us as citizens of the digital age.
The root of sexual violence in any case around the globe is set in patriarchal culture. South Korea in particular is a deeply patriarchal and conservative society. Again, despite being known for its rapid industrialization, South Korea has been slow to the changes of the rest of society. For example, men serve 12 two-month services in the military, whereas women don't have to. So some men reason that women don't deserve the same equal rights since they don't serve the same. Matthew Chan, an honors college student here at USF pursuing degrees in Asian Studies and International Studies with a concentration in global politics and a minor in Chinese Studies. Through his engagement at USF, Evan's become deeply academically interested in the study of identity, ethnic, racial, gender, and sexual, and how different Asian communities navigate these identities, both in historical and contemporaneous contexts. Evan's research, titled Under Pressure: Mainland Chinese Families and Negotiating Homosexuality, will give us insight into the influence of traditional family values within Chinese family units and how this intersects with modern mainland Chinese families' collective negotiation of homosexuality.
Some gay men and lesbian women believe that their families will react negatively to their homosexuality. And because of this, will do a Xinghun marriage. And although Xinghun can allow these people to live their lives secretly, because while they do have this marriage arrangement, they can still live with a same-sex partner secretly. It is ultimately risky because their family can then find out, and then it can lead to turmoil in the family. But it can also be taxing on the individual for having to maintain these secrets in front of their family. And all in all, the riskiness, the drasticness of these measures just highlight the stakes that these people live with regarding their sexuality.
Emily Chang, a junior international and Asian studies double major with a minor in Chinese studies. Emily is very interested in how policies work and impact a specific country or the international scene. Growing up, she had always wanted to improve the community around her through volunteer opportunities related to education and policy. These are what drove her to pursue the major she has now. Emily has dreams of pursuing work in the field of policy reform or consultation to ensure that all people are accounted for and treated fairly. Her research topic looks into the Singapore's National Family Planning Program, specifically the two-child policy. Welcome, Emily.
A huge focus on my paper is on how the government portrayed the two-child policy versus how the people actually felt about it. The government portrayed similar or smaller families as a positive, that parents would be able to save money and that it was a smarter option. But at the time, a huge part of Asian culture was big extended families and lively celebrations. People did not want to just have one or two children. They lived a very family-oriented lifestyle where family and their well-being came first before anything else. Therefore, it was hard for the government to get the two-child policy enforced socially, but politically it was set in stone with consequences if people did not follow it. A second-year politics and international studies double major with a concentration in global politics and policy. Frances was born and raised in Manila, Philippines, and moved to San Francisco 2 years ago for school, but is currently residing in Manila due to the pandemic. She is interested in international relations, gender studies, and social movements, as well as the progression of human rights over time. She grew up with a passion of learning how organizations like the United Nations work to bring peace and change to the world. Her research that she will share with us today examines how young Filipinos utilize organization and social media to raise awareness about the martial law period under the regime of Ferdinand Marcos.
Martial law in the Philippines was proclaimed in September of 1972 with the justification as the last line of defense against disorder brought about increasingly violent student protests, suspected communist insurgency attacks from the new Communist Party of the Philippines, and the Muslim separatist movement of the Moro National Liberation Front, or MNLF. Consequently, the series of bombings in the country's capital, which is Manila, including the 1971 Plaza Miranda bombing, was justification for a hidden agenda, which was Marcos's takeover and ensuing authoritarian rule.
Transnational K-pop idols and their journey within the K-pop industry explores transnational K-pop idols' experiences as they navigate the space in between their different cultures. Please give a warm welcome to Natalie Ortiz Arevalo.
The first common point many idols made statements about was language. They discuss the barriers, which includes isolation and the division that they felt, and lack of communication, which led to having issues in their personal and work lives. Though some of the advantages that they've had is that idols who spoke other languages were able to have a wider international outreach and participate in projects otherwise they wouldn't have been able to.